Hello everyone, and welcome back. So the topic of today's video is going to be, drumroll please, the fishing belt. So the fishing belt is something that I've pioneered I think 3+ years ago and was essentially born out of necessity to get rid of some of the LARPy military stuff that I had ordered to the house. The base of this is actually a war belt, which is kind of the same stuff that troops carry into Ukraine and everything else. And initially I bought it, I was like, maybe I'll do something cool with it in the future. I used to always have like all this tactical kit basically lying around the house and whatever, man, I'm just, playing around, messing around. But regardless, I then decided to attach some admin pouches to either side of it and put my lure boxes in there when I went fishing. And then I realized fairly quickly that it was actually a very, very handy way of carrying all my lures and being able to be like ergonomic, smart, and be able to admin myself really, really well. So basically, with one hand, I could operate it, grab the lure box, take the lure out, put the lure back in, close it up with one hand. And I always had it on site, and I didn't have to kind of take off my rucksack or do any of that nonsense. So I basically just started building it up from there. And what started out as like a really kind of cheap, very basic little setup, literally just to hold my lures, would eventually evolve into what it is nowadays, which is just an entire setup to hold literally everything I have when it comes to fishing. So I can fix and repair all my rods down by the sea, fix all my leaders, fix my terminal tackle, whatever it is, like change all my lures. I can help fix somebody else's stuff, which I've done a lot of time for kids and other people who are basically having trouble with fishing. I come over and I just instantly fix their stuff as much as I can. And I even carry, 2 knives on it, one that's like relatively quite practical, and then the other one which is kind of like almost like a big machete. It's like a K-Bar BK3. Don't worry, I go through everything that's on the belt in a little bit, but I just thought I'd give you an introduction to it. And also, basically, as thanks to the support of all of you, I know it's not expensive, but I still went out and I basically designed a belt that all of you can essentially put together yourselves, and for a fraction of the cost of my belt. And in it, I've kind of made some considerations for what I think would be actually good and useful for you, and kind of also kept it relatively cheap, or as cheap as I could, right? So like always on my channel, you kind of have that up front, you know what the idea is about, and then we can kind of get stuck into the meat of the matter and you can kind of skip around. I understand people don't like to waste their time. Your time is valuable and I don't want to waste it. So now we're going to move on to the part of the video where I kind of talk down and break down my belt, and then a little bit later on in the video, after I explain my belt and everything else, I have the tutorial essentially where I show you the belt that I got and I've kind of designed for all of you to use. Enjoy! Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to my video about fishing belts. If you like the hoodie, satuz.com. Right, with that out of the way, thought I'd talk about the fishing belt. So this is something which I've pioneered, I guess in the last 3 years or so, and I've got a lot of questions about it. Said I would answer it, never did. Said I would elaborate it, didn't really. And I just thought I would do that with you all here. And also, I've gone out of my way. This is, again, thanks to the support for the channel and stuff. I've done a little bit of research, and I've gone out and I've been able to find sort of a cheap way that you can kind of build something analogous to this belt here that can fulfill the same purpose for you, and you can kind of get the benefits of the fishing belt. I'll show you exactly what that looks like now straight away. Where's the interior? Oh, here it is. So this is actually a 2-part belt system here. This is the one that is not built up yet, but this is the one that I recommend for all of you if you don't want to spend that amount of money on it, because trust me, it's a lot. Like, I'm not saying that to be, Mr. Magoo, but I'm just being honest. It's a lot of money. I understand if you don't want to spend all that. Here it is. So it's a 2-part belt system. So this is the exterior part of the belt. This is the interior. So you can put this through your belt loops and everything. And then this will stick on to that basically with Velcro. I used to not believe that Velcro could actually kind of hold its weight, but to be honest, I've been surprised. I've been really, really surprised with like all my other kit and everything else. So again, I did a bit of research to be able to get this and sort of find one that actually kind of fits these needs. And I won't get too technical with that because I realize sometimes I can just get too technical and then we kind of meander a little bit too much. So right, that's down and out of the way. Essentially, your fishing belt, you want it to basically hold your lures in a way that's ergonomic and immediately accessible to you. the inspiration for the fishing belt was, believe it or not, well, I mean, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? I took inspiration from the military and how they kind of, it's getting a bit LARPy now, a bit tactical, but anyways, they need to be able to ergonomically and kind of quickly and efficiently be able to grab their kit without losing it and be able to admin themselves, like zip it up and everything else afterwards, right? So they have a way to kind of grab and access all their stuff, and I found that basically everything else on the market that exists is problematic when it comes to this. The two main competitors for like how people carry around their fishing kit is a rucksack, which you kind of have to take off, fondle around with, then grab the lure box with your other hand, and chuck it back in. It's a whole process. Or you have the shoulder sling bag with the one strap, which I've seen before as well. A lot of these though can sometimes definitely limit your movement. So when you're swinging your arms like this to do your casts and everything else, it can definitely get in the way. I've seen that happen. And more importantly, I think for at least myself, they're loose. You can get it snagged on something. You can rip. Lots of other things. Never had that issue with this. I've been in perilous situations with this fishing belt and never had any problem or any fear regarding it whatsoever. Really tough, really strong. That's why I had a bit of a look around to try and make something that would kind of emulate it in some shape or form. Because again, like I said, it's expensive if you want a one-to-one copy of this. Not sure I would recommend it for everybody, but it's what I did, right? Speaking about what I did, by the way, here you can see my entire belt system and the prices of everything that it is. You can't see a little price there on the bottom left, but essentially, here's what you need to know. In total, everything here costs €328. So that's including the modular belt system and the bags and the pouches and everything else. But that's not including any of my fishing lures, my fishing kit, my knives, my tools that I have on there, right? So that price is going to climb much more when you start adding those things on. And that's kind of why I saw the reason to make this video also kind of very much approachable for people who don't want to spend this amount of money, or alternatively not have so much stuff kind of hanging off them. Because I understand it's a lot, but it's, you know, it's a system that I really love and I'm in love with. So I'm super happy with it, but I just thought I'd show this for you all just in case. I'm sure somebody would be interested in knowing what all these things are and where they're from, so hence this is up. Right, now onto the rest of the video that I was showing you. So here are the basics that you want to be able to carry in your fishing belt. I've taken them out just in preparation for this video. I've actually done a bit of preparation this time, so I can kind of just point to you and talk you through it and not have to take everything out one by one. So here, right here in this pouch, so this would be basically on the left side of my hip here, I have the lures that I most commonly throw. I always recommend getting a lure box like this. Basically it's double-sided, so it's like mirrored, so you have the same stuff on each side. In this, again, we're applying the principles that I've kind of taught in the beginner fishing basics, where I talk about when you get to the water, what sort of lures are you going to be throwing kind of immediately. And in that case, if you've watched all my stuff before, you'll know. If you're new, then you'll learn. And that is metals, soft plastics, top waters. These three, you can kind of chuck these and kind of get an idea or a feel for the water or for the conditions that day, right? So there's no condition or water in which you can't chuck a metal, a soft plastic, or a top water. So I have them all sitting here. Metals on one side, soft plastics on the other side. That's simple, right? So you can kind of just reach in, grab it, pop it back in. It's in your belt. Finished. Ergonomic, you know, smart, quick. Another thing where I have on the other side of my belt, now this is kind of a very extra large admin pack here. I have that for two reasons. I basically carry almost a ridiculous amount of lures in my in both my hip pouches, just so you know I can kind of grab whatever I need to fairly fast. This might be going overboard for a lot of people. I totally understand that, but I'll show you what I have, and I can show you kind of like what I recommend to carry. So I'll bring you to the simplest one first. These here are weedless soft plastics, okay? So I have them again on this admin pouch here, which will be on my right hip, okay? And these here are stored in this little interesting container here, which is actually made for squid jigs. So I got this on, I ordered squid jigs from Temu, I think it was about 1.5 years ago. These are squid lures, by the way, to attract and catch squid. And they came in this interesting packet, and then I looked around and realized that they actually sell these specifically for squid jigs because they have kind of like a soft cotton or I don't know if it's cotton. Basically a soft fabric thing on the inside here that you can kind of jig it into. But I realized fairly quickly as well that you can kind of just put a whole lot of very slim profile soft plastics in here, especially if they're weedless, because the hook is within them. And it's a very safe, good way to carry them. Like you're not going to get snagged on anything. And also, you know, it's a really, really efficient use of the space. Meanwhile, if you try put the soft plastics, the same ones into this, sure, you'll fill this box. You can see the difference in the profile and the size, okay? And also the difference is a lot of weedless soft plastics and other stuff like that, it's actually going to be longer than the kind of 120, 130 mil kind of limit that you have here. So here you can just pop them all laterally, sort of like I have. Really clever way to kind of keep them all together, okay? Woo! Right, okay, I had to pause the video, I had to burp. Anyways, I also carry this as well, basically in the same pouch as this. So again, on my right hip. These are basically all my plugs and hard lures that I consistently throw. There's a few top waters in here as well. Essentially, these are too big for this smaller lure box, right? So as you can see straight away, a lot of these are much larger already in size and profile. So that's why I carry this. So immediately, as soon as I get down to the water, I can with one hand operate and operate. Okay, we're getting a bit serious. I can basically operate with one hand the zipper and the container for them, and get my lure out, apply it, move on, pop it back. Admin, perfect. Okay. Here at this point in the video, I sort of meander around, but essentially I get to the admin pouch that's on the back of the belt, the big old thing. So that's what this is. I essentially have a bigger, even larger box of lures. I think this actually is the Savage Gear one, the proper one that they sent me out ages ago. And in here I have all the different kind of weird lures and stuff that I'm not actively throwing, but I can still kind of have with me if the conditions present themselves. I'm thinking squid jigs. A lot of the times when I'm not in Croatia for the summer or something like that, I won't have squid jigs in my kind of easily accessible lures. When I go back over there, I definitely have them in the slot. Okay, so I'm using them a lot. And so here's just where I store the rest of my lures that, you know, nice to have. This is the nice to have, definitely. Now I'm going to address a need to have. So this right here, I'll try not to shake it around too much, destroy the audio. This is essentially my terminal tackle box from, what's this company again? NGT, right? So this, nearly flipped the whole thing out, is essentially where I keep all my terminal tackle. So these are all my hooks, my clips, all these other things like that. Here's a little bit of very, very thin wire. Again, that's for, you know, basically bait fishing for bluefish, all that kind of stuff, making all those kind of live bait rigs and all that. That's what you need that for. In here as well, you may have noticed the Kenai. I keep a pair of braid scissors in here. Again, you can use these to kind of clip wire as well. Wouldn't recommend it. I'd use Leatherman instead. So there you kind of have an idea of what's going on. I do have three other things on the lure belt which are, again, nice to haves. One of them I think is bordering on a need to have. For your viewing pleasure, I've kind of cut up this next bit kind of as fast as I could because I really do meander here, and I'm here to save you time. So let's look at the first thing here. First thing here on the list is the Ka-Bar Becker BK3. I have this attached basically to the back of the belt. I use this for like chopping up wood, basically preparing stuff for fires, all this kind of stuff. Great knife, right? Next up now, right after that, is an Eichhorn Kampfmesser 4000. The Kampfmesser 4000. This is a fairly good knife. Got it basically from a German company, again made for German special forces and stuff. Really, really good steel, doesn't corrode, keeps the blade, nice to sharpen, good stuff. I always try to keep at least one fixed blade on me that's fairly simple to use, fairly simple to operate, that I can kind of pull out straight away. It's been a few times where, believe it or not, like I've been kind of caught up in rope or had some kind of nasty situation happen to me. I've been able to kind of cut myself free, lash myself out of there. Mainly down to my clumsiness. This part here, next one here, is absolutely crucial. This is where I talk about essentially getting a Leatherman. I highly recommend getting like a proper Leatherman. I talk about specifically about the Wave Plus here, where I'm basically showing both sides, that it has like a serrated blade and a straight blade. I think it's both very useful. And of course you get the vice grips with it, with the wire cutter, which are really, really, really good and very invaluable. Here specifically, I talk about how you don't actually have to get the official one. You can get a knockoff. But again, when you start kind of cheaping out on things that are important, that's kind of when you're going to start feeling that burn. You can't get good quality steel, good quality tools in, you know, like by just cheaping out, because, you know, expensive steels and the kind of craftsmanship that goes behind it is is essentially what you pay for when you buy a multi-tool like this. So that's my opinion on that. This is my Leatherman Wave Plus, as you can tell, bit of a Leatherman fan, right? This is essentially a pair of trauma shears, trauma scissors. Do you need this? No. Do I like it? Did I think it was super cool and I wanted to get it? Yes. Is this wildly consumerist of me? Probably, right? But I'll be honest as well, they have a ring cutting feature. Apologies. They have a ring cutting feature there on that part of the knife. So basically, you can see it, the knife, sorry, the scissors. So right here, so you can kind of trim wires and all that other stuff with that, no problem. Works really, really well. Again, good quality steel. Can't really fuck around with that. You can get the cheap knockoff Leatherman off Temu or AliExpress. I've seen them going on there for like 18, 19 euro. All well and good. You will pay for it in the future if you ever need it. If you get one of these proper, keep it sharp. Yes, you can sharpen scissors. At this point in the video, I kind of talk about the lip gripper thing. That's the best way to call it. That sits in the back of my belt essentially for toothed fish and everything else. You kind of just use it and you can kind of crank a fish's mouth inside of there. So if you get something like conger eel, you can easily unhook them. That's, yeah, you can see I took the piss here like big time. Kind of debated whether I should have this in the need to have or nice to have. I think it's probably, it's a need to have, okay? You don't need to have the IFAK in itself. You can literally just grab something that's kind of like waterproof, kind of a sandwich bag, put a little bit of medical shit in there, forget about it. I've had it a good few times, not even just myself, but someone around me has been hurt while I'm fishing, either through their own negligence or whatever the fuck it is. Like accidents happen, and they happen fairly often. And the thing is, you need to just be able to kind of help that person when that happens kind of immediately. Now, obviously, don't go fucking crazy here, okay? Just remember, stay within your scope. If I see someone going around with an IFAK cat tourniquet on their fishing belt, I'm going to nuclearly erupt your mind, okay? I'm going to explode on you because, to be honest, you need to stay within your scope of what you're actually probably going to be treating. Realistically, it's going to be cuts, lacerations, this kind of deal. If you have twists, sprains, bruises, that kind of deal, I have some, I forget what it's called, but basically the tape that's used to kind of immobilize your foot a little bit can be useful. It is useful, okay? This one, I'm not going to fully pull it out, but basically you just pull this red tab and then the rest of it will basically just slide out here. It takes a little bit of time to pack it back in, but it's very, very easy to pull everything out and kind of see the whole IFAK. You don't need me to explain to you what should go into your IFAK. Not being funny, not like, oh, you should all know, but I'm just saying there's plenty of other channels that'll probably give you a better idea of what you should medically have in your IFAK. I literally only have basic first aid training, so I'm not here to tell you what you should put in yours, but just remember, stay within the scope of what you are capable of doing. So, don't be fucking putting nonsense in there, okay? Like realistically, you're not going to know how to use a tourniquet. You're not going to need to use one, hopefully, right? And also, it's outside of the scope of what you want to do. That belt there, realistically, we're talking just the material, as in just the belt and the pouches. I think we're in the 200 euro range, something like this. Conservative estimate there. That's without any of the lures, the bags, the knives, the whatever. So that's whatever. I will say though, it's been worth every cent of that. None of it is chafing, falling apart. Very, very comfortable. Lets me carry a lot of weight. As you can see, there's a whole lot of shit in there, and I'm carrying that weight essentially all the time when I'm fishing. And it doesn't create any issues for me. It doesn't give me chafing, any of that. So really, really highly recommend it. Kind of the explanation, which I thought would be short, but I've actually kind of, in my typical way, I've sort of extended it. I've sort of explained everything that's on my belt, kind of why I carry it, what the reasons for it are. I'll just pop all these back here as I talk about it. I'm now going to talk to you about what I recommend for all of you when it comes to mounting on your belt, especially the one here that I recommend. By the way, just full disclosure, I don't get paid. If you guys buy this belt, go buy whatever you want. I don't have any agreements with any company as it stands in the minute. So just know that when I give you recommendations, it's coming from the goodness of my soul. And even if at some point in the future, Lord knows, I get some kind of sponsor or something like that, it's going to be something that I actually use. I will never, like, you guys will not see me selling you fucking sea salt spray for your hair to make it look fantastic or whatever the fuck, you know. No based balm here, okay? So this is essentially, you can see these, if you pardon the little stars on it, I don't know, some Chinese guy probably thought that looks cool. This is the MOLLE system. So it's exactly how my belt is set up, right? Underneath all them pouches. And what that is, essentially, is these things down here are all hollow, so you can put stuff through this. So all of your MOLLE attachments, everything else, that's spelled M-O-L-L-E, Mike, Oscar, Lima, Lima, Echo, yeah, because we're getting fucking LARPy now at this point. And these all will feed into this perfectly, and then you can attach your pouches to this. Now, what pouches do I recommend for this? When it comes to the kind of cheaper end of the market for when you're looking to buy and attach pouches to your stuff, believe it or not, this is actually a kind of a good start. So this one again is from Tasmanian Tiger, so same company. I used to have this on my belt until I swapped it out for that bigger one right over yonder here. But this is a canteen pouch, so you can see here, opens up like that, semi-hard, on like as in it'll hold its shape to some degree, and you can definitely pop a lot of lures in there, and it's got the little holes for essentially letting out that water, essentially, because it'll fill up with water and it'll pour out. You can also pop a small little bag on the side of here because of the MOLLE system, and you have a little, basically tiny pocket on this one to attach it. This again is from Tasmanian Tiger, but if I remember correctly, this one actually wasn't too expensive when I bought it. You can fit a decent amount of lure boxes into here, just specifically. So if we just go through my basic one, which is the one I have on my other belt, there, that's one done, that's two done. So if we're looking at pure, proper, bare basics, with absolutely no regard for, you know, how we want to have it all set up, is this actually super ergonomic? I have now put all of my most essential lures, apart from my hard lures, into one pouch, and using the MOLLE system, I can then mount that here to the side of my belt or wherever I want it. I recommend when it comes to actually mounting the lures on your belt, you have one pouch on each side that isn't too big and definitely has enough, I guess, structure or support to be able to kind of not move around super freely. So you want to be able to actually access everything that's in each pouch that you have, and do it in a way that it won't all kind of fiddle around and move around, okay? Basically, you don't want something that's super loose, barely attached, so make sure you attach all your MOLLE correctly, as in, out, in, out, in, out. There's YouTube tutorials for it. If you just look up how to attach MOLLE, there's guys that are going to do it for you. It's going to be really, really, really simple. And just make sure that it's you have an appreciation for the ergonomics of what you're trying to achieve. Remember, you don't want to necessarily have all your lures stuck in one thing like this, because then when it comes to opening it up and grabbing them out, you can have little bits and pieces where you're pulling one out, and then it'll basically, the other one will fall into the space of the other one, and then putting it back in, you're going to have that problem. I realized I kind of went a little bit too long-winded in a couple different ways, so I just thought I'd simplify this down for all of you as quickly as I could. So your two lure bags, again, you can use canteen pouches for this. It's really, really good. So this is the one from Tasmanian Tiger. If I remember correctly, this one wasn't too expensive. And like I spoke about it when I was kind of reviewing my own belt, this one is actually very, very good. Used it for a long time. So you want this kind of up against yourself here, like so, and you can clip this into the MOLLE system so it actually holds, right? Obviously, this belt is up a lot higher than my actual belt level is, because I have a belt on right now, but I'm just, again, demonstrating to you. So one lure bag here, one lure bag here. Make sure you leave a space here, basically as close to the buckle as you can, or as close to the front, for your Leatherman or your multi-tool. If it doesn't come with basically a holder for it, so kind of a MOLLE sheath for it, highly recommend you buy one. It'll be like €2 or €3 again on Temu AliExpress, which is where I'm assuming you're going to be getting a lot of the stuff from, especially if you want to go down the cheaper route. Now, when it comes to the back, Okay, here at the back of it, I recommend having one pouch here for basically your terminal tackle. That's going to be your clips, your leaders, all your hooks, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to have that right here. And then here, then on the other side, where it sits, I recommend carrying just a small IFAK. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It can literally just be the cheapest possible admin pouch from AliExpress, that inside of it you have waterproofed some plasters, waterproofed some essentially wound cleaning wipes, bandage or two, happy days, right? I always carry an emergency blanket in mine as well, just in case, just in case, just in case. That's like, if you're falling into shock, that's useful. I don't know why I was talking about falling into shock. I hope none of you are falling into shock while fishing. But you may fall into shock when you hear the price of this belt compared to mine. So if you remember my belt, you know, we're 3 digits, we're in scary territory. This one here, the low price, 56 euro 15 cent. And this is if you buy everything identical as this here. And this is going to set you up basically totally 360 cover around your belt. And this is all the pouches you could want and need, plus, you know, plus an extra one there if you buy the double black one there on the right. So this is kind of what I mean. It doesn't have to be super expensive. It is going to be cheaper than some kind of branded rucksack or anything like that. Obviously, it's not going to be the cheapest thing in the world. 56 euros still, you know, some small amount of money, but realistically, like not a lot in the grand scheme of things at all. And again, highly recommend it. In the same place as well, you can buy all your lure boxes and all that, and it shouldn't cost you too much as well. I always kind of, you know, I always try to bring you guys stuff that's like, you know, actually good quality. Again, I don't make any money from these recommendations at all. This is purely just out of the goodness of me trying to, you know, help you guys and show you something which I think really works and hopefully can work for all of you. And that's essentially it. All right. So the only little tiny addendum I would leave is you can see in the top right there's the Leatherman or the multi-tool thing. If you guys have the 110 euro or however much it is, 120 euro to spare to get a Leatherman Wave Plus or some kind of, you know, equivalent Leatherman that you like or you like the setup of, I would recommend going with a proper Leatherman, because it will do you. It will hold, right? I can't really speak as much to the quality of, you know, cheap multi-tools because I have had a few in the past, mainly when I was younger, and they're not always fantastic. But at least with the Leatherman, I've been through the salt, I've been through the shits with that, so I can kind of back it. If not, this really doesn't have to be expensive. Just like with all your lure fishing and everything else, and kind of the point in this channel, I want to make fishing more accessible to people and make all the complicated stuff non-complicated. Um, a genius admires simplicity, right? Of course, I am the genius in question. I've drawn myself as the Chad Wojak. Okay, right. So if you want to hear about the sort of reasonings for me carrying all this stuff, or you want to basically see more of the kind of smaller stuff that I didn't talk about, because believe it or not, there is a lot of stuff on my belt, which I think is really useful, and little fishing bits and pieces that I bring with me. I talk about it all on my Angler's Compendium. It used to be paywalled. Now it's totally free. I feel bad for ever paywalling it in the first place. I hope you can all kind of get something out of it, read something out of it. You can read that on saddisk.com and it'll just redirect you to my Patreon. You can just read it, whole thing for free. It's all out there, hardback by the end of the year. And yeah, listen, I hope you guys get something out of it regardless, regarding every topic in fishing. It'll guide you through it, and you can kind of see my thought process for a lot of the YouTube videos sometimes because I'm writing it kind of throughout the month as I'm working on these, obviously intermittently. Cool. Right. Last bit here. Right, so I think I've kind of, as comprehensively as I could, explained the reasons for having your fishing belt, essentially how you should set it up. I've spoken about how I have mine set up. I've spoken about what's on it, showed you all the cool stuff, and I've also kind of given you alternative for what I recommend for all of you, especially if you're looking to do something on the cheaper side, that you can get the benefits of having a fishing belt without having to spend all the money that I spent on it. I've got a funny feeling that my belt, if you count the actual prices of all the lures, definitely including the knives and the lures and everything else, like you're in 4 figures sort of numbers, right? So that's how fishing is sometimes. Doesn't have to be an expensive hobby, but it can be. And this is kind of why I ward all of you off consumerism as much as I do, because I've definitely fallen for it all in the past, and I've gone and done it. But to be honest, am I happy with it? Yes, I am. Do I have any regrets? Zero. But just understand, if you're just looking to start fishing, you don't have to spend a lot of money. So that's why I made this video in a way that I could show you kind of what the highest end possible type fishing belt could be. And I've also kind of made one for you that's nice and cheap, accessible. You don't have to break the bank at all. You're looking probably as much as you would spend on a rucksack or one of them waist bags from Savage Gear or anything else. You've kind of got this here on the fishing belt, and now you have a belt which is different from a bag, more basically better distribution of the weight, more ergonomic, looks fucking cooler too. Right, enjoy yourselves, right? Read the Angler's Compendium. It's now totally free to read for everyone. If you like it, maybe give a little bit of money for it. I don't know. If you like the hoodies, the shirts, tatis.com. Be good, God bless, and I wish you all the best, all right? Tight lines. Ciao, ciao.